The mysterious warning. In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council, the atmosphere was tense. Members from hundreds of different species sat around the long oval table, their faces solemn and serious. The council was a place where decisions about the galaxy were made, and nothing could pass without the approval of its leaders. But today was different. Today, there was a subject no one wanted to talk about. Zorak, an experienced officer from the planet Therax, stood at the center of the room, his reptilian eyes scanning the faces of the council members. His scales shimmered under the harsh light, but his expression was filled with worry. He had been in many battles, witnessed many invasions, and survived countless threats. Yet nothing had prepared him for what he was about to reveal. "It's time we discuss Earth," Zorak said, his voice calm but carrying an edge of fear. The room went silent. Earth, this small, insignificant planet in the outer reaches of the galaxy, was the last thing the Council wanted to hear about. For centuries, the Galactic Council had kept an eye on Earth, observing its rapid growth, its technological advancements, and its strange inhabitants. But Earth had never been a priority. The Council had dealt with much larger and more dangerous species that could destroy entire star systems. What could a planet of humans possibly threaten? A few of the Council members exchanged uneasy glances. They had heard the rumors, but none of them took them seriously. Earth was primitive. Its people were just beginning to explore space. How could they possibly stand up to the might of the galaxy? But Zorak wasn't just speaking out of fear. He was speaking from experience. A few cycles ago, Zorak began, his voice carrying weight. "My fleet was sent to Earth to conquer it. We had intelligence that suggested the planet was weak, its defenses minimal. Our plan was simple: destroy their technology, take control of their resources, and claim Earth for ourselves." He paused, letting the gravity of his words settle in. The Council leaned forward, their interest piqued. "We attacked with full force," Zorak continued. "Our ships were powerful, our weapons advanced. We had every advantage. But when we reached Earth, we encountered something we didn't expect. The planet fought back, not with advanced weapons or fleets of ships, but with something much more powerful." Zorak's voice dropped lower, and he looked directly at the council members. Earth's people were not as weak as we thought. They had no starships, no weapons to rival ours. But the planet itself, it reacted. The energy from their core, something we had never seen before, surged outward and disabled our fleet. It was like the planet itself was alive and defending its inhabitants. We barely escaped with our lives. A murmur rippled through the council. Some of the more skeptical members scoffed, dismissing Zorak's claims as exaggerated. But the older, wiser members were silent, their expressions growing more serious. They had heard stories of planets with strange, almost magical forces, planets that could fight back against invaders in ways that defied logic. "You're telling us," a voice spoke up from the back of the room, "that Earth, a primitive, undeveloped planet, has some sort of weapon that could defeat an entire fleet." Zorak nodded solemnly. "Yes, but it's not just a weapon. It's something more. The energy we encountered was beyond anything we could understand. It wasn't just technology. It was as if the very essence of the planet was fighting back. I don't know what it is or where it comes from, but it is powerful, and we cannot afford to underestimate it." Another member, a tall, armored figure from the planet Othros, spoke up. "So, what do you suggest? We simply ignore Earth because of some strange force. We let them continue to grow, knowing that this energy exists." Zorak took a deep breath. "No, we need to investigate. We need to learn more about what this force is and whether it is connected to the humans themselves. If Earth is truly as powerful as I believe, it could pose a threat to the entire galaxy. We need to know why we failed and what it means for the future." The room was quiet for a long time as the council members processed Zorak's words. Some of them exchanged nervous glances. If what Zorak was saying was true, then the consequences were far greater than any of them had imagined. Earth wasn't just a planet to ignore. It was a planet with untapped power, and if that power was ever unleashed, it could change the balance of the galaxy. Finally, a deep voice spoke from the far side of the room. It belonged to the leader of the council, a wise and ancient being from the planet Viora. His name was Kale, and he had seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations. "We cannot ignore what Zorak has told us," Kale said. "We must understand Earth's true power, but we must be cautious. If Earth is indeed a threat, then we must be prepared to deal with it. But if Earth's power is something we can control, then we may find an ally in them." The room erupted in whispers, the council members debating fiercely. Some wanted to send more ships to Earth to investigate, while others urged caution, fearing that further conflict with the planet might provoke humanity's hidden power. Zorak's warning had shaken them all. Earth was no longer just a small, inconsequential planet. It was a mystery, one that could either bring about great change or unimaginable danger. The failed invasion. The Galactic Council had been shaken to its core. Zorak's warning about Earth's mysterious energy had stirred something within every member of the Council. For some, it was fear. For others, it was curiosity. No one could ignore the implications of Zorak's tale. Earth was no longer just another insignificant planet in the farthest corner of the galaxy. It was something more, something to be feared. Despite the growing concerns, the Council did not back down. The decision was made. The Crexans, a powerful and ruthless race of warriors, were to lead the second invasion of Earth. The Crexans were known throughout the galaxy for their advanced technology and brutal efficiency. They were the perfect species for the job. The invasion fleet, led by Supreme Commander Korak, was massive. Thousands of ships, armed with devastating weapons, filled the dark void of space. The fleet moved swiftly through the stars, heading toward Earth, confident that this time they would succeed where others had failed. Korak was certain. His fleet was stronger than anything Earth had seen. His soldiers were trained for battle, and his weapons could obliterate entire planets. The Crexans had been hired for this mission because of their unmatched strength and technology. They were about to teach Earth a lesson in fear. When the Crexans arrived at Earth's orbit, they were met with silence. The planet was unguarded, or so it seemed. Earth had no fleet of its own, no starships, no advanced weaponry that could pose a threat to the invading forces. The planet appeared defenseless, like so many others the Crexans had conquered over the years. "Prepare for landing," Korak ordered his fleet. "We will crush them. This will be a swift victory." The Crexans descended toward Earth's surface, launching their assault. Energy blasts rained down on the cities below, vaporizing buildings and causing widespread destruction. It seemed as if the humans were powerless to stop them. Korak's troops moved swiftly, marching across Earth's surface, capturing territory with ease. But just as Korak began to feel the thrill of victory, something strange happened. As the Crexans advanced deeper into Earth's atmosphere, they noticed an unusual energy field. At first, it was subtle, a faint, almost invisible wave of energy that seemed to hum in the background. But as their ships moved closer, the energy grew stronger. Soon, the entire fleet was enveloped in a powerful force. "What is this?" one of Korak's officers shouted. "We are being attacked by nothing. The energy is coming from the planet itself." Korak's heart sank as he watched the first few ships falter, their systems failing one by one. The energy field seemed to drain their power, shutting down their weapons and communications. His fleet, once so mighty, was now struggling to maintain control. "Retreat," Korak barked, but it was too late. The energy field surrounded them completely, locking their ships in place. Their attempts to escape were futile, as if Earth itself was holding them in its grip. On the ground, the humans watched in awe as the invaders faltered. General Claire Thompson, leader of Earth's defense forces, stood with her team in the command center, watching the monitors with disbelief. "They're retreating," she said, her voice filled with confusion. "But how? What's happening?" Dr. Alan Hayes, a leading scientist who had been studying the planet's strange energy, turned to her with wide eyes. This isn't a defense mechanism. This is something else. It's like the planet is alive, and it's using its power to defend itself. Alive? Claire asked, trying to grasp the concept. Are you telling me that Earth itself is fighting back? I don't know what else to call it, Hayes replied. But it's like nothing I've ever seen before. In the sky above, Korak was growing desperate. His fleet was falling apart. The energy field from Earth was too powerful, too unpredictable. His ships were being disabled one by one, their weapons useless against the invisible force that surrounded them. The Krexans had never faced anything like this. They were used to overwhelming their enemies with sheer force, but Earth's power was something entirely different. We need to regroup, Korak ordered, but his voice was trembling now. All ships, fall back. We're leaving. But as the Krexan fleet tried to retreat, something even stranger happened. The energy from Earth seemed to push forward, blocking their escape routes. It wasn't just a defense anymore. It was an active, aggressive force that seemed to be chasing them. The Krexans couldn't fight it. Their weapons had no effect. The planet's energy overwhelmed them, pushing them farther and farther from Earth. On Earth, the humans could only watch as the alien fleet fled. The energy surrounding the Krexans was growing stronger, pushing them out of Earth's atmosphere. General Thompson could hardly believe her eyes. What had just happened? How had they been able to push back the most powerful invaders in the galaxy? We did it, Dr. Hayes said softly, his voice filled with awe. We actually did it. But even as they celebrated, a thought lingered in the back of their minds. What was this energy? Where had it come from? And why had Earth never used it before? The hidden power of Earth. The Krexan fleet had retreated in defeat, leaving behind a trail of damaged ships and a shocked council. Earth's mysterious defense had crushed their military might, and no one in the galaxy truly understood how. The news spread fast. Across the stars, planets, and civilizations that had once overlooked Earth, a new fear had been born, but so had an urgent question. What was this power that Earth had revealed? Back on Earth, General Claire Thompson stood at the head of a large command center in a secure underground facility. She watched the holographic projections of the alien ships retreating into space. They had won, but there was no time for celebration. The real question weighed heavily on her mind. What was that? She muttered to herself as she looked at the data streaming in from the field. The scientists and military personnel around her shared the same feeling of confusion and awe. We need to understand what just happened, Dr. Alan Hayes, the leading scientist studying Earth's strange energy, said. He had been working tirelessly to figure out what had occurred. That energy burst. It was as if the entire planet itself was protecting us. Claire nodded, but her face was etched with worry. We need answers. We've never seen anything like this before. If the aliens can tap into it, if anyone else can, Earth may become a target. Hayes shook his head. It's not just a weapon. There's something deeper here. This is something ancient. The energy doesn't just come from the technology we know. It's older than any of us could have imagined. On the other side of the galaxy, the Galactic Council was in chaos. The failure of the Krexan invasion had shaken every member to the core. The Council had underestimated Earth, and now they had to face the consequences. Zorak, who had first warned them about Earth's mysterious power, stood before the Council once again, his posture stiff with frustration. You were warned, Zorak began, his voice carrying weight. The energy on Earth is not some primitive defense mechanism. It's something more. I've spent years studying ancient records, and I can tell you this much. Earth has a secret that no one in the galaxy knows about. A murmur swept through the room. Several council members looked skeptical, but they couldn't deny the truth of Zorak's words. The failure of the Krexan invasion was proof enough that Earth had power beyond their understanding. What is it? Kale, the leader of the council asked. His voice was sharp, demanding answers. Zorak paused, his eyes narrowing. There is an ancient race, long forgotten, that once inhabited Earth. They were not human, but they shared this planet with the first humans. They possessed knowledge of the planet's unique energy, a power that humans have unwittingly begun to tap into. It was hidden deep beneath the surface for centuries. The humans. Kel repeated, disbelief in his voice. But they are nothing compared to the advanced civilizations in the galaxy. That's what we thought. Zorak replied, his tone grave. But the humans have something we don't understand. This ancient power is linked to the very core of their planet. It responds to them. It protects them. Back on Earth, Dr. Hayes had gathered a team of scientists from all over the world to investigate the strange energy further. They had discovered something in the records of ancient civilizations, buried deep beneath the Earth's crust, that seemed to align with the energy they had witnessed during the Krexan invasion. The ancient texts, written in a long-forgotten language, spoke of the heart of Earth. It was said to be a force older than time itself, one that could be awakened by those who shared a deep connection with the planet. The relics found in Earth's most ancient temples seemed to point to the existence of this force. But what was more shocking was that humans had unknowingly been tapping into it for centuries. This power, it's been here all along, Dr. Hayes said, looking over the ancient documents. We've been using it without knowing. The energy has always been a part of the planet's ecosystem, its plants, its oceans, its very soil. We're connected to it more deeply than we ever realized. Claire was silent as she processed the information. But why now? Why did it protect us during the invasion? Is it responding to us specifically? That's what we need to figure out, Hayes said, his voice full of urgency. I believe the humans who have the most connection to the planet, those who understand it, can unlock its full potential. But what if it's too much for us to control? In the Galactic Council chambers, Zorak's warning echoed in the minds of the council members. Earth's power wasn't just a threat. It was a mystery, one that could change everything. Zorak, having studied the ancient records of Earth's forgotten race, now knew the truth. The energy had been dormant for centuries, but it was growing stronger. The humans had unwittingly triggered its return. We must act now, Kale said, breaking the silence. If Earth's power is as great as Zorak suggests, we need to learn how to either control it or eliminate it. Some members of the council were eager to act quickly, sending more ships to Earth. Others, however, hesitated. They knew that if Earth's energy was truly as powerful as Zorak claimed, any confrontation could lead to disastrous consequences. Zorak stood with his head bowed. We cannot afford to underestimate them again. The humans are not weak. They have a weapon beyond anything we've ever seen. We need to know more before it's too late. The search for answers. The tension in the Galactic Council's chambers was palpable. After Zorak's warning about Earth's mysterious energy, the Council was divided. Some saw Earth as a threat that could no longer be ignored, while others believed it was an opportunity to harness the planet's power for their own benefit. For the first time in centuries, Earth was no longer just a speck on the galactic map. It was a symbol of both hope and fear. The ancient energy hidden beneath its surface was the key to everything. But no one knew how to control it, or whether anyone should. Back on Earth, General Claire Thompson continued to lead the investigation into the planet's strange energy. As more scientists and military experts gathered, the truth about the planet's power began to slowly emerge. Dr. Alan Hayes, the foremost scientist on the subject, had made a chilling discovery in the ancient texts. The heart of Earth, he said, his voice strained with urgency. It's not just energy, it's consciousness. The planet itself is alive in ways we can't even begin to understand. Claire leaned forward, her mind racing. What do you mean, alive? It's as if the planet can sense what happens on its surface, what happens to its people, Hayes explained. The more connected we become with Earth, the more we can feel its energy. It's always been here, hidden beneath the layers of our history, and now it's reacting to the threat. Claire looked at the data on the screen before her. It showed a map of Earth's core, pinpointing areas where this mysterious energy had been strongest. There were patterns that suggested the energy was not just reacting to the Crexans, but to something more. Why would Earth only react now? Claire asked. What changed? That's the question we need to answer, Hayes replied. But I believe it's not just about the Crexans. It's about us, about humanity's connection to this planet. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council was growing restless. Zorek's warning had put them on high alert, but what could they do? They were no longer facing a simple planet of primitive humans. They were facing an ancient power that could defy even their most advanced weapons. The Council members were divided. Some proposed sending additional fleets to Earth to destroy it before its power could be fully unleashed. Others argued that the energy could be used to their advantage. Kale, the leader of the Galactic Council, was standing at the center of the room, his face a mask of resolve. He had seen countless civilizations rise and fall, and he knew better than anyone that power, once discovered, could never be contained. Earth's power was no exception. We must make a decision, Kale said, his voice echoing through the chamber. We cannot allow this unknown force to grow unchecked. If Earth has what Zorek claims, it could be the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy. But if it is not a threat, then we may have an opportunity to form an alliance. A council member from the planet Sander, known for his cold logic, spoke up. We cannot afford to let Earth continue to grow stronger. If we do nothing, the power of this heart of Earth could soon be beyond our control. I suggest we send a team of our most skilled operatives to investigate this energy. If it is a threat, we will eliminate it. If it can be controlled, we will harness it. I agree, Zorek said, his voice firm. We need to understand it, but we cannot wait any longer. If Earth's energy can be wielded, it will shift the balance of power. We must act now. Back on Earth, Claire and Hayes continued to analyze the ancient texts, piecing together the puzzle of the planet's mysterious energy. They discovered something startling. The energy, which had once been dormant, had become active only in recent years, a reaction to humanity's growing technological advancements and increasing awareness of the universe around them. It's not just the planet that's alive, Hayes said, shaking his head. It's the people. The humans themselves are awakening something within Earth. The more we understand the universe, the more the planet responds. It's almost as if Earth has been waiting for us to reach this point. Claire's eyes widened as she absorbed this information. The planet is connected to us, our history, our evolution. It's like we were meant to discover it. Hayes nodded. Exactly. But here's the catch. If we don't learn to control it, we could become overwhelmed. We've already seen what happened when the Crexans came. The energy reacted, but what if it gets worse? What if it grows beyond our control? Claire's mind raced. She had just come to understand that Earth's power wasn't just a shield to protect them. It was a force of creation, a power that could change everything. And if humanity could tap into it fully, it could alter the course of the galaxy. As the Galactic Council deliberated, a shadow of uncertainty loomed over both Earth and the galaxy. The Council could no longer ignore the threat or the potential that Earth's power represented. But the more they sought to understand it, the more they realized they might not be able to control it. Back on Earth, as Claire and Hayes grew closer to unlocking the true nature of the energy, they couldn't help but feel a rising sense of urgency. The Crexans had been only the beginning. There were other forces in the galaxy, other races, that would soon seek to take control of Earth's power. The question now was whether humanity could protect itself or whether Earth's energy would become their undoing. The awakening force. The news from Earth spread like wildfire across the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, a planet thought to be insignificant had defied the might of the Crexans. Earth was no longer just a backwater world. It had become the center of attention for every advanced species in the galaxy. And now, the mysterious energy that had saved Earth from certain destruction was stirring. Its true potential remained a mystery, and everyone wanted to control it. Back on Earth, General Claire Thompson and Dr. Alan Hayes stood at the head of the largest military and scientific command center the planet had ever seen. Together with a team of experts, they had been working nonstop to decipher the secrets of the energy that had saved them. But each discovery only raised more questions. "Everything points to the same thing," Hayes said, his voice tinged with exhaustion. "The energy is alive, it's growing, and it's responding to us. It seems like it's waiting for something, waiting for us to unlock its full potential." Claire frowned. "What if we can't control it? What if it's already too late?" "We're not the only ones worried about that," Hayes replied grimly. "I've been tracking unusual readings from the outer planets. The Galactic Council is already moving. They've been trying to send operatives to Earth to understand this energy, and I'm afraid they'll do anything to get their hands on it." Claire's heart sank. She knew that the Council wouldn't hesitate to invade if they thought they could exploit the power. "We need to prepare ourselves. We can't afford to wait. But we also can't act without knowing what we're dealing with. If we open the wrong door, we might unleash something even more dangerous." Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council had finally come to a consensus. They could no longer ignore Earth's power, nor could they risk allowing it to continue unchecked. The Council had dispatched a team of highly trained operatives to infiltrate Earth's defenses. They were known as the Zorathians, elite soldiers from the planet Zorath, known for their stealth and cunning. Their mission was clear: uncover the truth behind Earth's energy, and if necessary, neutralize the threat. On the surface of Earth, the tension continued to rise. In every corner of the world, governments and military forces were on high alert. There were rumors of strange occurrences happening across the planet. People spoke of strange visions, unnatural weather patterns, and a deep, unexplainable connection to the land. The energy was growing stronger, more volatile. It seemed as though Earth itself was waking up. Claire had no idea how deep the connection between Earth and humanity truly went. She had been briefed on the ancient texts and theories, but none of them could prepare her for the strange, unexplainable events that had started to unfold. And now she had to make a decision. How could she defend Earth from a threat that no one truly understood? Late one night, as the wind howled outside the command center, Claire stood alone, staring out at the vast ocean. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden flashing light on her communication device. It was a message, one she had been hoping never to receive. The Zorathian operatives had arrived on Earth. "They're here," Claire whispered to herself, her heart racing. Dr. Hayes, who had joined her, looked grim. "We need to act fast. We can't let them get any closer to the energy. If they find it first, Earth will be nothing more than a resource for their experiments." Claire nodded. "Prepare the team. We need to find the source of the energy and secure it before anyone else does." The Zorathians were no strangers to secrecy and stealth. They had infiltrated countless worlds in their quest for power, and Earth was no exception. With their advanced technology and covert tactics, they slipped past Earth's defenses without leaving a trace. They knew that time was of the essence. The energy was growing stronger every day, and it wouldn't be long before it was fully awakened. Their leader, Commander Kaler, was a seasoned warrior with a reputation for ruthlessness. He had been tasked with one objective: to capture or destroy the energy. He believed it could be harnessed to bring unprecedented power to the Galactic Council. But as the Zorathians got closer to the source, they began to sense something unsettling. "We're getting close," Kaler said, his voice low, filled with uncertainty. "But there's something wrong. The energy, it's not just an object or a weapon. It's as if it has a mind of its own." One of his soldiers, looking nervously at the readings, nodded. "We've never encountered anything like this before, Commander. It's unlike any force we've encountered." Kaler clenched his fists, his mind already calculating his next move. "No matter what it is, we take it. We control it or we destroy it. On Earth, the battle to protect the energy was about to begin. Claire and her team had tracked the Zorathians' movements to an ancient site in the mountains, one of the oldest places on Earth where the energy was strongest. It was there that humanity would have to make its stand. But what they didn't know was that the energy wasn't just waiting for them. It was already aware of their presence. The planet had always known them. It had always been with them. And now, it was ready to show its true power. "We're not just defending ourselves from an enemy," Dr. Hayes said, as they approached the ancient site. "We're defending the very life force of this planet. If we fail, if the Zorathians get their hands on it—" "We won't fail," Claire interrupted, her voice firm. "We have something they don't. This is our home. We'll protect it with everything we've got." As the Zorathians closed in on the energy source, they found themselves not only facing a human defense force, but something much older, something much more powerful. The energy responded to their intrusion, sending waves of force through the area. The Zorathians began to feel the raw power of Earth itself, something they had never encountered before. But Kaler was determined. "Push forward," he ordered, even as the earth beneath their feet seemed to tremble. The ground cracked open, and the air became thick with static. They were too close now to back down. The awakening power. The earth trembled as the Zorathians closed in on the source of the mysterious energy. Every step they took brought them closer to something that neither they nor humanity truly understood. The very ground beneath their feet seemed to pulse with an energy that resonated through the air, making their hearts race in anticipation. For the first time, even the Zorathians, who were used to conquering worlds, began to sense the overwhelming power of Earth's core. Commander Kaler, determined and focused, was not one to back down from a challenge. His team had faced countless dangers, but nothing like this. As they reached the entrance to the ancient site, the walls began to glow with a soft, eerie light. The Zorathians froze in place, and the silence was broken only by the low hum of the planet's energy. "It's here," Kaler muttered under his breath. "The power we've been searching for." But even as they advanced, the air seemed to shift. A strange sensation rippled through their bodies, an almost suffocating weight, as though the planet itself was trying to reject their presence. The energy was waking up, responding to their intrusion, and it wasn't going to make it easy for them to take control. On Earth, General Claire Thompson stood at the edge of the site, watching the Zorathian forces approach from a distance. She had assembled her best troops to defend the site, knowing that this was the planet's last line of defense. But she also knew that their weapons, however advanced, might not be enough. Earth's energy wasn't like anything they had faced before. "The Zorathians are close," Hayes said, his voice tense. "We need to act fast. I don't think we can hold them off for long if they get inside." Claire's eyes narrowed. "We don't have a choice. The energy won't let us fail. It's reacting to them. We need to trust in what we've learned." Dr. Hayes shook his head. "Trust in what? We don't fully understand it. If it's a weapon, we could be unleashing something we can't control." "We don't have time for doubts," Claire replied. "We either protect the energy, or we lose everything. If we don't, the Zorathians will take control, and the galaxy will be at their mercy." The Zorathians, led by Kaler, advanced into the depths of the ancient site. The air grew thicker, and the ground beneath their feet continued to vibrate with increasing intensity. The walls of the cavern seemed to pulse with energy, almost as though the planet itself was alive. The deeper they ventured, the more they could feel the energy's presence, like an invisible hand pressing down on them. One of the soldiers, feeling uneasy, spoke up. "Commander, we're not alone. There's something here with us." Kaler's eyes narrowed, but he didn't hesitate. "Continue forward. Whatever it is, it won't stop us." As they moved deeper, the Zorathians came upon a massive chamber. At its center was an enormous crystal, its surface glowing with an intense, blinding light. The energy emanating from it was unlike anything they had ever encountered. It was raw, untamed, and powerful beyond measure. The Zorathians stood frozen, momentarily awestruck by the sheer force radiating from the crystal. "This is it," Kaler said, his voice filled with awe and greed. "This is the power we've been seeking." But before they could move any closer, the ground beneath them suddenly shifted. The crystal's light flickered, and a deep resonating hum filled the air. The Zorathians staggered back, feeling the force of the energy pressing against them. "What is happening?" one of the soldiers shouted. "It's fighting back," Kaler barked, his voice tinged with panic. "Retreat." But it was too late. Back outside, Claire and her team watched as the ground around the ancient site began to tremble. The Zorathians had entered, and something was happening. The air crackled with static, and the sky overhead seemed to darken. The energy was awakening, and its power was far greater than anyone had anticipated. "It's too late," Hayes said, his voice filled with disbelief. "The energy is beyond our control now. It's too powerful to contain." "No," Claire said firmly. "We can still stop them. The energy is alive, but it's connected to us. If we can communicate with it, we can control it." "Communicate with it," Hayes repeated, incredulously. "How do you propose we do that? We're not even sure how it works." Claire's gaze hardened as she looked toward the glowing crystal. "We have to trust what we've learned. We've been preparing for this moment our whole lives. We have to tap into the energy. If we're part of it, maybe it will respond to us." Inside the chamber, the Zorathians were in full retreat. The energy had turned on them, its power intensifying with every second. Kaler, despite his best efforts to lead his men, couldn't deny the truth. They had underestimated Earth. The planet's power wasn't just a weapon. It was a force of nature, something far beyond their comprehension. "Fall back," Kaler ordered, but his voice was drowned out by the sound of the energy roaring through the chamber. The Zorathians scrambled to escape, but it was clear that they couldn't outrun the energy. The ground cracked open beneath their feet, and the very air seemed to bend with the intensity of the force that was now fully awakened. The crystal's light became blinding, and the entire site seemed to collapse in on itself. For a moment, there was nothing but chaos. The Zorathians were swept away by the energy's force, their technology failing to protect them. In that moment, they understood the truth. Earth was not just a planet. It was alive, and it would protect itself at all costs. The ultimate showdown. The once calm skies above Earth were now filled with an ominous glow. The energy that had lain dormant for centuries had fully awakened, its power spreading through the planet like an unstoppable force. Across the globe, every living being could feel it. The air was charged with electricity, the ground thrummed with a deep vibration, and the planet itself seemed to pulse with life. The Zorathians had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. Commander Kaler and his remaining soldiers, though battered and exhausted, made their way back to their ship. The Zorathian force had been decimated by the planet's energy. They had come to Earth expecting to conquer, to control, but instead they had learned the hard way that Earth was not a world to be trifled with. It was alive, and it was capable of defending itself in ways no one could have predicted. Kaler's face was grim as he looked out across the battlefield. His soldiers had been defeated, and the Zorathian fleet, though still intact, had suffered significant damage from the energy pulses. They had no choice but to retreat, but that would only delay the inevitable. If Earth's energy was as powerful as it appeared, the entire galaxy would be forced to acknowledge the planet's dominance. "We've lost," Kaler muttered to himself. "But this isn't over. We'll return, and we'll take Earth's power, no matter the cost." Back on Earth, General Claire Thompson and Dr. Alan Hayes stood at the heart of the ancient site, the epicenter of the energy's awakening. The battle to protect the energy had been won, but they both knew that this was only the beginning. The Zorathians had retreated, but they would be back, and next time, they would come with everything they had. "We've won for now," Claire said, her voice quiet, almost in disbelief. "But I'm afraid this power is too much for us to control." "We don't know that yet," Hayes replied, looking out toward the horizon. The energy was still there, still pulsing, but it no longer felt threatening. It was as if Earth itself was waiting for something, something only humanity could provide. "We've learned more than we ever thought possible. This energy, it's not just a weapon, it's a part of us. I think it's trying to communicate." Claire turned to him, her brow furrowed in confusion. "Communicate? But how?" "I don't know," Hayes said, shaking his head. "But I think we're closer than we realize. If we can unlock the full potential of this energy, if we can understand it, maybe it will help us defend ourselves against future threats." The battle for Earth's future was far from over. The Zorathians had learned a valuable lesson, that they weren't the only ones watching. The Galactic Council had received word of the defeat and the overwhelming power that Earth had displayed. They had underestimated humanity for centuries, but now they knew better. If Earth could harness that energy, if humanity could master it, the balance of power in the galaxy would shift forever. Across the stars, other species, some allies, some enemies, began to take notice. Earth's energy was a game changer, and everyone wanted a piece of it. The question now was, who would control it? Would Earth be left to its own devices, or would the galaxy's more powerful factions descend upon it, attempting to claim the energy as their own? Back at Earth's command center, Claire and her team were working tirelessly to understand the energy. The ancient texts had been invaluable in guiding them, but they were still far from understanding its true nature. They had only scratched the surface. With each passing day, they discovered new, astonishing abilities. The energy could heal wounds, manipulate the environment, and even alter the course of events in ways that seemed impossible. "We're learning, but we're also pushing the limits," Dr. Hayes warned. "If we don't approach this carefully, we could destroy everything we're trying to protect." "We'll be careful," Claire replied, though her voice was firm. "We've already come this far. We can't back down now." As Earth continued to unlock the secrets of the energy, the Zorathian fleet regrouped, its commanders filled with anger and frustration. They had been humiliated, but they were far from defeated. The Galactic Council was pressuring them to return to Earth and finish what they had started. They were not the only ones interested in the planet's newfound power. Others were already making plans to stake their claim. In the depths of space, the war for control of Earth's energy was just beginning. The Zorathians would return, and they would come with even greater force. But this time, humanity would be ready. Earth's energy was no longer just a mystery. It was a weapon, a force to be reckoned with. Claire stood on the balcony of the command center, looking out at the vast expanse of space. The stars were silent, but she knew that the galaxy was watching. Earth was no longer the underdog in the cosmic struggle. The energy had changed everything. "We'll be ready," Claire whispered to herself, knowing that the fight for Earth's future had only just begun.